sharing a process video for My Creative Scrapbook. Here you can see me working with the August limited edition kit and creating a mixed media page with some of my favorite papers and along with a white foundations paper from Vicki Boutin. I did use clear gesso on my page before I started applying my modeling paste, but I did that using a Tim Holtz dotted stencil. I have dried everything in between some of the clips that you see here, and I'm using some Distress peeled paint oxide on my background. And I was really going for using spurts, but I ended up with more of a spray. So I've got a lot more coverage than what I really intended, but I'm trying to just go with the flow and then modify the background as I can with embellishments, and then I do come back in with some other paints and so forth. But I'm going to be scrapbooking this adorable little photo of grandson Clarkson with his mom holding him in the background there. And he's got on a cute pair of overalls, so I thought this would be great for a strawberry picking layout. So I'm building up my photo area there, and I want this focal area to be pretty large because I'm going to use that little grapevine wreath there that's, kind of incomplete, but it's more oval shaped or rectangular even than the one from a previous video. I'm also bringing in that kind of wood grain viewfinder and putting it back behind. And then I'm going to elevate everything on some corrugated cardboard and adhere that with my 3D beacons glue because of all the mixed media on the background. I need something that will really grab a hold. So anyway, I'm kind of auditioning the placement here of everything to see if I like it. And then I plan to use the little wishing well down in the lower right hand corner. So I want to make sure that I'm going to have enough room down there to accommodate that. So I start placing some elements down there. I really want to use that little cluster of yellow florals. And I'm sorry I'm out of frame there, but I had a lot of challenges doing this page. I'll just put it that way. I had jars that wouldn't open and that kind of thing. But anyway, I decide that I want to go ahead and adhere my photo. So I'm going to go ahead with the beacons, and I'm going to make sure that that's well supported there by bringing in a second piece. And I just have to trim it up a little bit. But I want to make sure it's all glued and straight. So I do bring in my T-square just to make sure everything's in good alignment before everything dries. And there's that sweet little wreath. I think that's going to be really cute. I'm going to pop it up on some foam squares so it'll have some dimension and it'll have a 3D look to it. I plan on giving this layout to his mama, so I'm sure they'll be putting it in a shadow box or some kind of display area. So far I hadn't used the little red flowers from Little Birdie with the yellow centers, so I'm going to be bringing them in for this layout, as well as using one of the yellow flowers that I modified with the Shimmers paint. I don't have it in front of me, but it is Mai Tai something or other. And so the balloons, I kind of work with those a little bit, and I wanted to use them because they're part of the kit, and I thought, strawberry picking serves as a time to celebrate, so let's bring in some balloons. And I also liked how the polka dots kind of play off the polka dots in the little index card that I've used behind the photo. So there I'm just getting ready to arrange my florals. I do have my video on 4x speed for most of the video because some of it just seemed kind of redundant, and I wanted to get to completion for you in a timely manner. But there I'm tucking in the little yellow flower. Now over time, what used to be green in the background really starts to turn yellow, which when I photographed it, it was definitely yellow. When I look at it in real life, it looks green. But here on the video, you can see it kind of changed from being the darker green to this more yellow color. I do want to put those yellow flowers behind the wishing well, so I'm finally going to get to use those. I've auditioned them a couple of times working on this kit, and finally I'm just going to build a little scene here and then put the wishing well in front of it. I did add that little escape to the country subtitle just to make things a little cuter. And then I bring in a little bird. I'm going to be using a combination of corrugated cardboard and foam tape to support the wishing well, but yet elevate it and continue with that three-dimensional appearance for the layout. I did look for other elements to try to, fill in this little scene, if you will. And what I came up with was a little bucket and a frog, and then I add the bird like I already mentioned. It would have been cute to have another photo or something back behind, but I really already got a lot going on in this page with the florals at the top and then everything I've got in the left-hand cluster. And I'm going to be bringing in some more here that you don't see yet on the video. So it's going to be a pretty busy page, but it's cute. So there is our well, and there's the frog in the bucket, and I kind of experiment with whether the bucket's going to go in front or back, and I think it ends up behind. I like it both ways actually, but I went ahead and put it back behind and tucked it in. Cute. And then I grabbed that little piece of fencing that is in the die cuts. The die cuts are the lasers. I don't remember. I think it's part of the die cuts. And anyway, I like it, and then I just said, well, why don't I go ahead and use all of the fence that's in the pack? And so that's what I end up doing. But I stop a moment and add in some wild honey distress ink onto my background just to give it a little more interest. It turned out a lot more orange than what I thought it would. It usually turns more gold when you mix it on top of the green. But there I'm putting in one of the white flowers just to, that felt kind of empty to me over there. And so I tore off the rosebud part of the flower, and then I just tucked in the part on the back. And it filled it in really nicely. And there I'm experimenting with the wagon wheel and the placement for that. And then I also bring in that mushroom to kind of add something else to that little area there. Oh, and I did want to use the shovel and rake, and so I decided to tuck those into my floral cluster just because I thought they would add to the boy theme and the outdoor theme. And then I'm going to add the wagon wheel and my little Simple Pleasures title. In retrospect, I kind of wish I brought that down a little bit, but I think I was trying to keep the bottom branch open so that you would see it. However, I do bring in a couple of strawberries, and that kind of did the trick for me as far as making everything look cohesive. And there I was just shopping with my embellishments in the background. That strawberry's too big. It's nice. I do use it elsewhere, but not on this page. So I'm going to put that other little one in there. And then I decide to splatter with the Dina Wakley glossy stain. And I have trouble opening the jar, so that's what our little pause is for. And then I use that all around the clusters. I do come back later with acrylic paint in white to give me a little more coverage and also to daub on my florals. But I didn't know that at the time. So I'm looking at it to see if it looks complete, see if it needs anything else. And I think that's where I stop and look for the little bird and decide to bring that in. And I try him on the fence, and then I bring him down there, and that's exactly where he needs to be. And then I'm looking things over and deciding what else I want to do to the background, if anything. And this is where I grab my white acrylic paint, and I'm going to use the bottle cap for the paint, and I'm just going to make some circular areas on my mixed media. I like to do that sometimes when I've done a mixed media project. It's been a while since I've done it. But anyway, I think I'm done. I do come back later and add some more. But there I'm going to cover the photo again, and I'm going to do some more splattering. And I also use the paintbrush to daub on the florals a little bit. And that just helps all of your elements to be blended together. And then I just add some down there around the little frog. And there I just come back with a couple more places that I want to add some circles. Just trying to get everything so, you know how you do. And then as a final gesture, I do get out my peeled paint in the stain, and I splatter that onto my project, and that kind of grounds everything and really gives it some good coverage. So coming up are the close-ups, and I just want to thank you for coming by today. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more of my content in your feed. There'll be information below about how you can order a kit, or better yet, subscribe to the Kit Club and never miss anything. So anyway, enjoy, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.